What is going on, deck builders? I'm your friendly neighborhood host Alex, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Deck Tech Arcade. Today I have a very special episode in store for you guys, featuring one of my favorite commanders, Sek'Kuar Deathkeeper. I'll be showing you a unique and powerful way to build around the Deathkeeper and maximize his abilities to their fullest. This is definitely not a deck for the faint of heart, so strap in and let's get started. Sek'Kuar Deathkeeper, a commander many of you have probably never even heard of. He spends most of his days collecting dust in bulk rare bins and being made fun of because he's not prosh. Good old Deathkeeper has the unique ability to turn all of our non-token creatures into token-producing value engines. But why just limit ourselves to plain Jane creatures when we also have the unique ability to turn our lands into creatures and sacrifice them for value? Don't let those lands be lazy. Get them out on the battlefield and put them to work. Once we've assembled our land creatures, a well-timed land destruction spell should put our opponents way behind and set us up with an army of Graveborn creatures. And just in case our land destruction aggro beatdown strategy falls through, we've got a solid plan B in the form of an infinite combo that will help us close out games in a hurry. Timing is everything in a strategy like this. A misplay on a land destruction spell will spell your doom. However, time it correctly and you'll end up with a tremendous advantage. The artifact ramp here is as minimal as possible. We really want to focus on mana dorks. They get us off to a really good start in the early game, and we can sacrifice them later for additional value. Deathrite Shaman and Orcish Lumberjack are two of my favorites. Deathrite sets us up with amazing graveyard hate, and Orcish Lumberjack is fantastic for hurrying out a big creature on turn 2 or 3. Don't sleep on Dark Ritual. This instant speed spell sets us up for explosive plays. The bulk of our mana ramp comes in the form of helpful snake friends like Sakura Tribe Elder and spells like Rampant Growth. The idea here is to color fix and get extra lands on the battlefield at the same time. Extra lands mean we can cast big spells quickly. It also means when we decide to wipe the board and take out all the lands, we'll have a lot of extra creatures to work with. I prefer more permanent sources of card draw like Necropotence that can stick around for a while and draw us a lot of cards over time. I also really like spells like Fecundity or Skull Clamp that give us even more value for killing off our creatures. Now we're not just making tokens, we're also drawing cards. Capitalizing on death triggers with extra creatures and card draw means our opponents have to think very carefully whenever they want to use a removal spell. We've also got a variety of creature tutor spells at our disposal. Eldritch Evolution is pretty stellar. Being able to sack a creature and directly replace it with a bigger, badder one is just awesome. Birthing Pod and Evolutionary Leap are dual threats. They help us upgrade our creatures and give us our precious death triggers at the same time. Pair either one of these with a recurable creature like Reassembling Skeleton, and you have a handy way to generate yourself a massive army in no time flat. When it comes to targeted removal, we want spells that are cheap to cast and ultra efficient. There's nothing worse than being hung up on one small card like a ghostly prison. Most decks hate board wipes. Sek'Kuar thrives off of them. Using spells like Toxic Deluge or Pernicious Deed, we can effectively send our opponents back to the Stone Age while we rebuild with a token army. We essentially have two types of land animation here. Animation that brings our lands to life, and animation that brings every land on the battlefield to life. You have to be incredibly cautious when playing with these effects. One misplay and it's all over. For example, you can punish a particularly board wipe happy opponent by turning their lands into creatures prior to their board wipe resolving. Combining Natural Affinity with Blasphemous Act is a 4-mana way to destroy every land on the battlefield and turn your board into a ton of hasty 3/1 Graveborns. Combine your land wraths with the Get Good Frog and Titania, and now you're drawing a full grip of cards and making 5/3 elemental tokens too. Some effects, like Sylvan Awakening, make our lands indestructible, which is nice, but it can also get in our way if we're trying to win the game. That's why we need a variety of sack outlets. Ashnod's Altar and Emrakul's Evangel are my go-tos. Ashnod's Altar is a mana-producing powerhouse, and Emrakul's Evangel might not seem like much, but trust me, this dude can make a lot of tokens. Team him up with his fellow League of Evil members Sek'Kuar and Titania, and you'll make so many Eldrazi's, Graveborn, and Elementals, you won't know what to do with them all. Actually, I take that back. You know exactly what to do. Give those tokens haste, infect, and a +5/+5 buff, and swing for the fences. With all this land destruction and sacrifice, Ramunap Excavator and Crucible of Worlds are going to be our best friends. Both of these pair really nicely with Strip Mine. We can recur Strip Mine over and over again and take out our opponent's lands one at a time. We can also pull off some crazy instant speed shenanigans with crop rotation. Whipping out a Bojuka Bog or an Arcane Lighthouse when people least expect it is awesome. Every deck needs a backup plan, and for us, it's a 4-piece combo involving Sek'Kuar, Cryptolith Rite, Nether Trader, and Ashnod's Altar. Cryptolith Rite gives Nether Trader the ability to tap for a black mana. Now we can sack Nether Trader to Ashnod's Altar, giving us 2 colorless mana and a hasty Graveborn token. Using Cryptolith Rite once again, we can tap our Graveborn to give us 1 mana of any color of our choice, then sack him to the altar to make 2 more colorless mana. Using the black mana we floated earlier, we can return Nether Trader to the battlefield and start the loop again. In order to end the combo in style, we can use Grim Haruspex to draw out our entire deck, or a creature like Zulaport Cutthroat to drain our opponents to death. Pretty brutal stuff. Jund is not a color scheme that plays nice with others, and its commanders definitely reflect that. Commanders like Prosh, Kresh, or Shattergang Brothers, who are all good in their own way, hog up a lot of that Jund spotlight, so Sek'Kuar tends to be overlooked. I understand a lot of you out there might be hesitant about playing land destruction, but I think in the case of Sek'Kuar, it gives him his own unique identity and makes him stand apart from other commanders. Never be afraid to build a commander 100% and maximize their potential. You know what they say, go big or go home. Next time on Deck Tech Arcade. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can help me out by leaving a like and sharing this video with your Sek'Kuar loving friends. And you know what's up. Stay classy, deck builders. I'll see you next time.